What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Baddog back with another New York Giants video. Still trying to get the nightmarish performance of the 36-9 debacle that we suffered at the hands of the San Francisco 49ers backups yesterday. And in this video, I want to talk about Dave Gettleman. Before I get into the meat and potatoes of the video, just going to ask you guys and girls again, if you could do me a favor. I've been trying to grow my Instagram and Twitter pages. Links are in the description, so if you guys and girls could follow me on Instagram or Twitter or both, that'd be great. I will follow you back. It's just that YouTube doesn't always give you the notifications when I go live or drop a video. This way you have other outlets to figure out if I'm doing something on YouTube if you care to watch. But anyway, I will follow you back, so I hope you guys and girls will follow me there. And of course, if you're new to the channel, why not? Hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, and hit that thumbs up. I mean, why not? What do you got to lose? You can hear me rant about the Giants. Who doesn't want to hear that? Anyway, let's talk about Dave Gettleman a little bit. For a couple of years here, since he came in, I have always defended Dave Gettleman. I have tried to understand Dave Gettleman. I know a lot of Panthers fans are like, you're going to hate this guy. Giants fans, a lot of them didn't like him to begin with. But, I try to give him the benefit of the doubt. He took over a disgraceful situation here with the New York Giants. Jerry Reese left this franchise in absolute shambles. We had a 37-year-old quarterback, no offensive line. Dave Gettleman was strapped with a bunch of terrible contracts, backloaded contracts of aging veteran defenders like Janoris Jenkins, Olivier Vernon, and Snacks Harrison, all who played well their first year here and then completely decided they weren't going to play anymore. So we had no cap space. We had no linebackers. We had no left tackle. We didn't have a lot. We had no young talent except for Odell Beckham on this team. So he took over a bad spot. He tried to fix the linebacker spot. Traded for Alec Ogletree. Was a disaster. Brought in Nate Solder as left tackle. Was a disaster. Brought in Jonathan Stewart. That was a disaster. Try to look back at a lot of things Dave Gettleman did, and they seem like they might have been good at the time, but every one of them has failed. I mean, even his draft picks. When he took Saquon Barkley, a lot of us were happy, especially with the way Saquon Barkley performed his rookie season behind such a bad offensive line. They're like, oh my God, can you imagine in a couple of years in the league when we build our offensive line, how good he's going to be? He's done nothing but regress. Now, of course, injuries have played a massive part in that, and it's unfortunate, but you can't produce if you're not on the field, and he's not on the field. So he's going to miss the entire season. That'll be 18 games in the last two seasons Saquon Barkley has missed. That ends up being a bust. I mean, pretty much is what it ends up being. He didn't help this team win, and he hasn't, and we don't know what he's going to be when he comes back from a torn ACL. It's much worse than a bone, and Odell Beckham hasn't been the same receiver since he broke his ankle back in 2017. Lorenzo Carter, B.J. Hill, these guys were steals. Look at how good they are the rookie seasons. They've regressed, both of them. Terrible. Lorenzo Carter's played a little bit better here this year. Didn't play well against the 49ers. Of course, nobody did. But he's kind of looked better, but both of those guys would probably be backups on other teams. We talked about Darius Slayton, what a steal he was, but I think the league's adjusted Darius Slayton, and Darius Slayton's been invisible the last two games. So, how good is he really? How good is Julian Love really? The DeAndre Baker thing was an absolute disaster. Dexter Lawrence looks like a nice pick. We got him, for the Odell Beckham trade. But a lot of these picks haven't panned out, and a lot of these picks that Dave Gettleman's made, they looked really nice at the time, but they look really bad now in hindsight. This team still cannot win. Now, I didn't want to get rid of Dave Gettleman after 3 years because I don't want to be the Knicks. Chris mentioned this in his video earlier. I think the Knicks have had 14 head coaches since 2000. I don't know how many GMs, but it's hard to build. It's hard to build a franchise when you have no stability. The fact of the matter is, basketball is a little bit different, but football, man, your window of opportunity is very small. You can only say for so long, these guys are still young, you got to give them a chance. Listen, your best years in football are probably the first 4 years that you come out of college, maybe outside of the quarterback position, but the running back's best 4 years are before 27. It's not like baseball where they develop and then at 27 they're in their prime. A lot of football players may be in their prime at 27, but they start to go downhill really fast. A lot of them do not make it into their 30s. They're already over the hill by the time they're 31 years old. So you don't have a great window of opportunity. So you can't keep saying, well, they're young. They have to develop. They're young. How long does it take these guys to develop? These guys are in college for 3 years. This is where they're supposed to be developing. You give them the rookie season, but 3 years into their career, we can't be saying these guys are still developing. Okay? So as bad as this situation was, Jerry Reese left this franchise in a complete dumpster fire, but Dave Gettleman has done nothing to come in here and extinguish it. Now, I won't say that he's thrown gasoline on the fire, but he's certainly thrown kindling on it and continued to keep it burning, continued to keep the dumpster fire burning. I have no faith in Dave Gettleman anymore. Daniel Jones, listen, that is going to be a different video. I'll spend a whole video on Daniel Jones. I'm just going to say this. My reaction went viral. Everybody knows my reaction to Daniel Jones. I was really ticked off when we drafted him. I did a complete 180 about 4 days later, and, a lot of guys said to me, Baddog, your first instinct's usually right. Don't force yourself to like this guy if you don't like the pick. You're forcing yourself to like him. They kept saying, be honest with yourself, you really don't like the pick. Now, I'm not giving up on Daniel Jones. He's played 15 games, and I get that. I don't want to say the guy's a bust yet, but he's certainly headed down that road. I compare Daniel Jones to Dak Prescott. And Dak Prescott, in my opinion, would be a terrible quarterback on the Giants. He'd be a terrible quarterback on the Jets. Dak Prescott succeeds because of the talent around him at Dallas. They have a great offense. They have a great offensive line. Now, I know they're missing a couple of tackles, but they have a great receiving core. We saw that in Seattle yesterday. He's got a lot of talent around him. Now, Daniel Jones, I think, could succeed with that much talent around him, but Daniel Jones is not a guy that's going to put a franchise on his back and carry it. Okay, Eli Manning did that in 2011. Your elite quarterbacks do that. Daniel Jones isn't that guy to me. That is one thing I've seen in his first 15 games in the National Football League. He has turned the ball over every single game except for the one game against Washington that cost us Chase Young, right? That's the only game in his career he hasn't had at least one turnover. You're not winning many games and the quarterback continues to put it on the ground. You can say he doesn't have any talent, but like I said, you shouldn't need talent if you're an elite quarterback. Dak Prescott was a 4th-round draft pick, which means he's a great value for Dallas. You get that much out of a 4th-round pick, that's a great pick. That's a great pick. Whether you like Dak or don't like him, that's a great pick in the 4th round. Daniel Jones was a 6th overall pick. You cannot miss there. We said that. You missed with Daniel Jones. You missed with Saquon Barkley. You've missed with a 2nd and a 6th overall pick so far. You've done a terrible job. You cannot miss. Those guys need to come in. Now, Saquon Barkley did make an immediate impact, but he's fallen off. Daniel Jones made an immediate impact in 3 games last year and was okay. I guess the rest of them had some really bad games. But again, this guy's up and down. That cannot happen with a 6th overall pick, guys. I know you want to give him a chance. I get that. But when you're a 6th overall pick, you need to be the man immediately. Immediately. You have to turn the franchise around immediately. You can't be like, well, he's got to develop for 4 years. No. He has to come in and turn around immediately. The GM put his job at stake, and so far that has not worked out. If we don't get any talent in here, he's never going to be good. He's going to be Sam Darnold. That is exactly what's going to happen to him. Sam Darnold's going nowhere with the Jets. He's going nowhere fast. And I never liked Sam Darnold to begin with, but the fact of the matter is the Jets did the guy no favors. Okay, the Giants are doing Daniel Jones no favors either. And a lot of that falls on Dave Gettleman. I want stability here. I don't want to keep, a bunch of different people coming in and out of here like a rotating door of GMs. I don't want that either. But the fact of the matter is, like I said, you have 3-4 really good years with your players, and they need to develop, and they need to develop fast. And if they're not developed within the first couple of years, then they're not going to. Not with this franchise. Maybe with a different coaching staff. Maybe it works. I don't know. We've had a bunch of coaching staffs in here. None of it's working anyway. So obviously Dave Gettleman is going to get a ton of blame for this, and he should. And I cannot defend Dave Gettleman anymore. I cannot say that, well, you got to give him a chance. Well, we got to give him more than 3 years. It's not going to happen anyway. We're on a road to having one of the worst seasons in the history of this franchise. They look dead in the water yesterday. And again, there's just nobody on this team to get excited about at the moment. Saquon Barkley's sitting on the sideline with a torn ACL. Is Daniel Jones exciting anybody? Everybody wanted to make excuses the first week. So look at his turnover rate. It's way down. His turnover valuable plays. And look at PFF's rating. I don't care about PFF. I hate PFF. I don't care about the ratings. I care about winning. I care about making good decisions with the ball. I care about not turning the ball over. Don't try to do too much. Don't be a hero. I care about fundamental football. I care about playing good football. If he's playing good football and we're losing, I can deal with it. But the fact of the matter is he's not playing good football. The Giants aren't playing good football. The coaches aren't coaching good football. Nothing good is happening here. And we just got rid of the coaching staff. So I'm not going to kill them for 3 games. This is Dave Gettleman's fault. This is just the way it is. I can't defend Dave Gettleman anymore. If the Giants wanted to make a move, I'm completely on board with it at this point. I don't know what needs to change. Everything needs to change. This freaking team has just been in a rut for 7 years. I mean, it's just this boat has just been taking on water and water. And every time you think it can't sink farther, it continues to sink farther. I don't know where the bottom of the ocean is for the New York Giants, but we have got to hit this thing soon so we can come back up for air, because this team is draining the life out of not only me, but a lot of this fan base. I can't defend Dave Gettleman anymore. He's made really bad draft picks. He made really bad trades. A lot of his draft picks would be backups on other teams. And that is how you know that we're a bad team, because we pretty much start backups as our starters. The Niners didn't even play their starters. They played their actual backups, and their backups killed our starters. That just tells you how void of talent this team is. That's on Gettleman. That's all I got for this video. Until next time, guys, it's Bad Diggy Dizzle, and I'm gone. Peace!